All right, notice is hereby given of a workshop of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 11th day of February 2015 at the hour of 5 p.m. For consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on February 6, 2015 at 10:40 a.m. in accordance with the Texas Opens Meetings Act, and a copy has been furnished to the county clerk at Cameron County, Texas. There is a meeting today, workshop. There is a quorum. We have all four members present. Notice of the meeting has been duly posted as required by law. Item 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. Would everybody rise, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have about 5 or 6 items on this workshop, so if I bang the gavel on you, don't take offense to it, because I want to keep this thing going. I just want to keep it as per item. I don't want to get out of order. I want to keep it on topic. Okay, Mr. Thomas? Thank you. All right. Item 3 is discuss funding and financing for the Port Isabel Water Reclamation Project.
Mr. Chairman, I know that Engineer Charles Ortiz has passed out a spreadsheet, and he's going to explain a little bit of what we have available.
All right.
Reclaim.
Yeah, I don't know if you see that one spreadsheet that's on the attachment, where we're talking about just the first page, where we're talking the Port Isabel water reclamation improvements. And what we have proposed for the initial project is phase 1 of the wastewater treatment plant improvements that were presented there by Corollo at the last master plan for $5.8 million. And then the advanced water treatment portion, locating the site at water plant 2, that project portion of the work is $6.8 million. And then we're also considering in that initial phase also just go ahead and including the reuse pipeline from the Laguna Vista sewer plant, the same advanced treatment facility, which was actually what was included in the 2012 bond report. And that would be an additional $2 million. So adding those 3 phases together, we have a capital project cost of $14,687,265. And so that's really the funding amount we need to get for this project to get to 100%. And so if we go and look at our funding sources that are available, our remaining balance in the 2012 bond that can be allocated to this project through transfers of the line items is at $5.93 million. And then the water system development charge, I was thinking that could be something that could be applied towards the advanced treatment. And so that balance is $621,350. And then from Proposition 1 unissued bonds, there was that amount that was approved by election, but at the time we actually sold the bonds, we issued an amount that was less than the 23 million that was approved by election. And so that amount that was approved by election but it's unissued at this time is 2.58 million. And so that's, I'm figuring something if we choose to issue additional tax bonds, or we can go through our FAs, see if that's...
And that wouldn't be a problem to do that, to issue those bonds? Adrian?
Issue the revenue bonds?
Yeah, the ones that we never did, the 2.58.
No, we had capacity built to do that.
Those were tax bonds.
No, the GO bonds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, Proposition 1, you know how there was a contingency that got approved by election, but it wasn't issued in the actual 2012 bond issue?
Yes, you're correct. We could issue those.
We could issue those, okay.
Okay, so considering those two, I mean, I put Proposition 2 for seawater desalination in here as a line item, even though since we've gone through reuse, it's really not applicable to our current project. But that just gives you a ballpark of what got approved by election, which was $15.65 million for seawater, which is being deferred through this reclaimed water project. And so basically adding the project cost and subtracting the current bonds that are available, or the current funding sources that are available, we need to do an additional bond issuance of $5,555,340 to get this funded 100%. So that's really what the spreadsheet is presenting. And then we also have to think about the additional operation and maintenance costs that'll come with this advanced treatment facility. And so Corollo had provided these numbers just so we can get budgeting purposes of what the new facility would add to our O&M costs. So we're talking about a power cost increase of $170,000. Additional maintenance would be about $100,000 annually. But then some of the offsets are changing out the existing blowers to turbo compressors and also the reduced pumping costs, because we're not gonna have as much water coming off the river since we're recycling. Between those deductions, we have a expected increase of O&M costs being $218,000 annually if we add this advanced treatment to it. That kind of sums it up in a nutshell. I don't know if we have any other questions, in addition to that.
Well, I have a question on this advanced water treatment, 6.8 million we have down, right? 6.8 million
Right.
is for the advanced treatment.
Mm-hmm.
How many water rights can we buy with that? Oof.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think this project comes out to about $900 per acre foot versus the market rate right now is like $2,250.
Okay, so this comes out to about 900.
Yeah, I think it to do this project cost in terms of acre foot, we're looking at about $900 per acre foot.
Okay,
So
so the 6.8 million is going to generate how many gallons a day?
Well,
About 1.2 is what I remember from the study.
yeah,
correct?
because our current flows at
No, if we had Laguna Vista, correct?
yeah,
That's what we're talking
basically
about.
it'd be about 75 to 80% of the Port Isabel and Laguna Vista sewer flows combined. So
What is that?
0.7 at PI and then 0.4. Yeah, so that's
Hold on, Mr. Thomas. Hold on. I want to get my question answered, then you can go.
So we're talking 1.1, and then through the recycling process, we probably only get maybe 80%. So today we'd be getting 880,000 gallons per day, plus whatever growth comes down the road.
From both
Yeah, both
facilities,
plants
from
combined
PI
would be-
and, okay, so
would
that's
be-
800,000 gallons.
Yeah, 880,000 gallons per day.
Right. We'll round it up to 900,000
Mhm.
gallons.
And then plus, we'd be, with the growth in the mainland, we'd be getting that increase accordingly.
Of course, there's no growth going on. We got zero growth right now.
Well, yeah,
So,
you never know when it's gonna hit.
yeah. 0.1%. Yeah, it's very, very tight. All right. So 900,000 gallons per day. And based on that 6.8, how many water rights can we buy with that?
Oh,
How much water rights?
let's see, if we do,
Based on what you just paid for the last water rights? Is that what
yeah.
you're-
About
let-
2,400,
Just say
2,500,
Yeah,
right?
just say 2,500.
2,500.
Hold on,
Oh,
Mr.
it'd be about 3,000 acre feet.
About 3,000 acre feet. All right, 3,000 acre feet. And how many gallons a day is that? Or how many gallons is that?
Oh, I don't have the conversion. It's probably more than 1 million.
1 acre foot is 325,000 gallons, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at about, it's almost the same is what it looks like to me. Is that
An
about
acre
right?
foot is 300, what'd you say again, Mario?
About 325,000 gallons
Right.
is an acre foot.
Everybody gets to talk with me. You guys keep
Like
talking.
880.
I'm trying to get my question answered, and then we'll get to
I calculate 886 million gallons.
886 million
You wanna
gallons.
go in gallons, yes.
Okay, divided by 365, what is that?
Different fly shit out of pepper.
Más o menos.
That's our usage. Right.
Okay, hold on. 2 million, 2.4 million gallons.
Per day.
Right there, the front, that's the price.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you would expect water rights to be cheaper. It's just a reliability issue of why we're trying to get this alternate
Correct,
water
I
supply system in
understand,
case.
yes, I understand. All right, Mr. Thomas.
You keep talking about the water coming off these plants. We're gonna reclaim 70 or to 80% of that water. That doesn't include the desalination part of the plant because it's the wastewater, the salinity in the wastewater is so high. So we've got a compound problem here. It's not just we're not Las Vegas. We're not just treating wastewater.
Well, right.
Treating wastewater, plus we're desalinating that wastewater.
That's what he figured.
Right. Well, the advanced
Okay,
treatment.
And we're not, there's no way, you show me a system that'll take 70 to 80%, or let's say a loss of water of 20 to 30%. I want to see that. I want to see that. I don't think that's
I mean,
possible.
Well, we can see what stages, I mean, if they're using, I mean, we can get into that with Corollo, but basically, I don't know if they were planning with this RO to have a two-stage process or what level of concentrate they're going to, get that TDS to. I mean, probably in design phase, we'll find out what our permit limits would be for the discharge, because the reverse osmosis is going to be a separate industrial discharge permit for that concentrate, and that'll really dictate how high you can get the salinity.
But we're not talking about 70% of all the water outflow from the sewer plants.
You think it's gonna be less?
Oh, I think it's gonna be probably 40 to 60%.
No, well, I know what the
Because also...
Seawater's what?
seawater was
when you
expected to be about
desalinate
50%.
water- Excuse me, you gave me the floor, sir.
Yes, sir.
When you use a reverse osmosis process to desalinate water, at that point, you get maybe 60% of the water for just desalination. Now, we also have the reclaim unit. How much water are we going to lose through the reclaim unit coming off the sewer plants? And if you think we're going to wind up, my opinion, with 70, 80% of good drinkable water, or at least water going back to where it can be retreated,
Okay,
we'll leave on.
I
Thank you, sir.
see the point. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wolverton?
Yeah, if I may approach with some information on...
Sure.
Going back during the bond election, I think the desalination was a 3-to-1 ratio. Was that correct?
Oh, for Proposition 2?
Yeah.
As far as, what do you mean?
It's process. You take 3 gallons of salt water to produce a gallon.
It could be, I don't remember those numbers.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. And this is just, if I may, this is just the Executive Commission, TCQ's Water Masters, times years report to us, y'all have all seen this before, on our regulatory quantities and things, so. Which is very interesting. And I had a lengthy discussion with the Water Master's office day before yesterday, and in that discussion, with him, there's a newly hired water master. The other one was just terminated. And this, the gentleman I talked to was Anthony, and the water master's office there. We're considered wet right now. As of February, Amisted's at 53%. And then Brownsville, for them to deliver, they're keeping the river in the stage 2 right now. It's low. There's 1, 2, 3, and then lower. But it's in a low stage right now. And as I viewed today when I went out there and I looked at our facility there, the watermarks was about 2 foot down. But that's because of lack of demand for water. They put the customer's water in the river up there and send it down. It's a 7-day travel time down for Brownsville. I'm using them for an example, larger users.
Well, we're very close to Brownsville.
Yeah, so a 7-day travel time on that. And the river level, I said, was a number 2 because of no demand, because we're soaking wet in the valley. There's a lot of places, they can't get their steel in the ground for their crops because it's sticky. And there's so, and like I said, there's no demand on it. And also in talking to the water master, my question is, in our district here, who's the personnel that goes and reads the meter out off the pump?
The water treatment personnel?
And that's on and I understood here going back some time back, we had a problem with a foot valve on one of the pipes where it may have been pumping back into the river, and I was told maybe up to 25%.
That's been corrected.
Well, but that has been corrected.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on. Our item is discuss funding and financing for the Port Isabel water reclamation. That's what we're on right now. So
Okay.
I'm trying to tie these two together. I don't see where it's tied together
Mr.
yet.
Wolverton an explanation on
Well,
that last remark he made.
No, I stepped down, and the chairman is right there.
Yeah, we're here to discuss the funding and financing for the Port Isabel water reclamation. That's our item agenda right now. Any other questions on the funding and financing for this water reclamation project?
Not me. too many questions, Your Majesty.
Yes, sir.
If you have questions, this is the time to...
If you got questions on it.
Now's the time,
bring it
it's the
up.
purpose of the workshop.
Well, let's just say I've got so many questions, I don't know which questions to ask. We can move on.
Regardless of the water reclamation project, we've got almost $6 million worth of improvements that need to be done. Actually, a little bit more if you add in the wastewater plants on the island too. We've got over $6 million worth of improvements that need to be made to keep our existing facilities up to date. Is that about right?
Right. The 6 million is just the necessary rehab,
Yes.
and we're kind of getting bang for our buck by adding this advanced treatment to it.
Okay. All right. Let's move to item number 4, blowers at the wastewater plants in the Isla Blanca rehab.
All right. So this is just basically a recap of our our capital improvement plan for the needs at Andy Bowie wastewater treatment plant and Isla Blanca wastewater treatment plant. So starting off at Andy Bowie, adding that one blower and making a turbo compressor and replacing our existing blowers and rehabbing the air piping, we're looking at a rough cost of $210,000. That scum box replacement, actually I think it's already completed, so we can scratch that one off the list, which was listed there for $20,000. And then the grit removal system, which is really a goal we probably wanted for a while. It would help just maintain the life of the equipment. We had that item for $555,000, and then plus we need to rehab that plant lift station, which is an additional $65,000. So our total capital project needs at Andy Bowie wastewater plant is $850,000.
Minus the 20.
Minus the 20, so $830,000.
Any questions on the Andy Bowie portion?
Will 800,000 fix everything that needs to be fixed there?
Well,
Or is that gonna be a Band-Aid on it? Because
It's
I've heard
Band-Aid.
from somebody it was gonna cost a lot more than that, and I don't know.
Our big problems at Isla Blanca.
right.
That's the major components that need to be rehabbed and replaced.
Who's our wastewater guys?
Right here, Mr.
There he is.
Ochoa.
He was hiding behind Adrian.
Oh.
There. The Andy Bowie, lot more than that though, huh?
Yes, there's a lot of diffusers, airlines, and channel tracks that are full of sand and grit that we need to address.
That we need to.
Yeah, the plant is like 1.5.
It's rated at 1.5, and what can we really get out of it?
Maybe 1, maybe. Because the sand is already filling up those tanks with capacity.
That's what Carrillo identified in the last presentation.
Well, I think Friesen McNichols did that too.
Yeah,
Their
Friesen
president.
I think we need to get all that fixed, Scott. That thing's gonna go down on a big
All right.
weekend, we're gonna be in a world of trouble.
Maybe you can get with Charles and maybe
Yeah, I mean, if
see what else needs to be done before we consider doing a revenue bond, because if we do, I mean, I think we all want to get it done the right way.
Yeah, we can get more thorough on that check, because again, with adding the blower capacity and getting the basins cleaned out, plus adding the grit removal, I mean, basically that'll help be the long-term fix for these.
And I'm all about increasing the efficiency of the plant. I know we're rated at 1.5, but what's our average daily flows out of there?
With seasonal, right now it's at probably at 6.6.
0.6.
But,
0.6. That's
Like 600,000 gallons per day.
600,000. Yeah, that's not a whole. But during the peak is
4th of July weekend.
real close to.
it's close to the 1.5. Okay.
It's gonna get nothing but busier.
All right. Next, Mr. Ortiz.
All right, so yeah, so this is just, the short-term, or the immediate needs at Isla Blanca, which is basically looking again at a new headworks. The new grit removal here is about $830,000. Upgrading the turbo compressor on this, and then also a rehab of the motor control center. Basically, Isla Blanca needs a new electrical service and switchgear, kind of similar to what we did at Water Plant 2. Really, we have the same need here, so that's pretty pricey stuff. And so I have in the budget here $429,000, which is available funds from our sewer SDC fund. But I would anticipate a more thorough analysis could really cause that to creep up higher.
What does SSDC stand for?
Sewer System Development Charge.
It's a new deal.
Well, we've been doing it for a
No,
while.
we've done it for a while.
Anytime there's a tap, we put a portion of that. We put a portion of that into the sewer System Development Fund and the Water System Development Fund, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's been accumulating.
So, I mean, this is just, to give us a good numbers to work with, is kind of the request that's on the table right now. But again, the same issue at Isla Blanca, the plant lift station needs rehab. We have 13,000 in there, and that existing belt filter press, it's at the end of its life. It needs to be replaced, which is an additional 345,000. So our capital cost at Isla Blanca, we're looking at an additional 1.6 million. So basically just looking at our two sewer plants on South Padre Island, we have a proposed wastewater rehab cost of about 2.5 million.
Okay.
That's for capital.
Going back to the Andy Buoy and the Isla Blanca, what you have up on there, these items are the most pressing? Are these items the most pressing?
Yeah.
That's what needs to be tackled as soon as we can, right?
Right.
Yeah, if that belt price goes down, from rate it, we're gonna be in trouble.
Oh, Lord, well, that's only 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, they'll come burn down our
Thank you for
houses and
thank you
kill
for
all
sharing
our
that.
kids. That makes you feel real good, man. We got 2 weeks.
Okay.
And again, spring break is only like a week.
I know, it's not as big as it used to be. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, last year we only violated in August, and we have the rear gates. So our goal is to get those gates installed after Semana Santa, but before Memorial Day. So we'll see if we can do that.
Question?
Yes, sir.
I know we were doing a bunch of in-house work. Are the Isla Blanca plant people here?
Yes, we're here.
There he is, okay.
Same one.
How's that in-house work coming along? Are we
So we're
getting?
doing what we can. We put it in diffusers. We install it in diffusers.
Okay.
And we save money for the company.
Right.
Have we got the new gates and stuff
for the-
yet? Have they even come in to where we can get them installed?
They're arriving March 20th.
Okay,
How much of this stuff can our guys realistically do? I mean,
quite a bit.
they can't do the blowers, can they?
No.
Right.
I mean, we don't have a master electrician to even
Right.
be certified to do that work. So I mean, but like right now, I'm even concerned about the level of installation required for Clarifier 3 parts. So I'm kind of looking at the idea of getting an installation quote from the supplier of that material.
Did
just
we
to
get
see
any
if
more
we
of the
can
aerator
put that on the
lines
table.
down?
Hmm?
Victor, did we get any more of those aerator lines down over there?
Yeah, he's got the whole channel track, he got it all built in, so
All right,
he didn't use your
my
device.
intention. All right. Didn't need it.
Pretty close to it. About the same.
Okay, so if I'm adding all this up correctly, at the Port Isabel wastewater plant, we've got the 5.8, correct? Okay.
Yeah, well, what's in that spreadsheet? We're looking. Well, actually, it's 5.56 million.
Yeah, 5.56.
Okay, let's just say 5.6, and then we've got the 850 for the Andy Buoy, and we've got the 1.6, right? So that's 14. That's $7 million bucks. Okay, do we have that?
No, that would all have to be new debt that we issue, whether it's
Okay.
tax or revenue.
Well, we've got 5.9. You said, right?
Well, like my line items here,
Yes.
like item 10 on the wastewater rehab, required revenue bond issuance of 1.8 million. That's the funding that we're short for the wastewater rehab. And so so basically we're short 5.6 million to complete our reclaimed water, and we're short 1.8.
No, let's
Yeah.
let's get rid of the reclaimed water facility.
Okay.
Let's just tackle what we really need to be done.
Okay.
And so the way I'm figuring it is I think we probably have the money to do if we issue the rest of that $2 million.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That $2 million, we're probably going to have the money to go ahead and take care of all this.
Am I correct? We're talking about the rehab cost for both plants at 2.467. Is that correct?
So, well, no, I think right now what's on the table is phase 1 of Port Isabel sewer rehab, which
Correct.
is 5.8 million,
Yes,
and then plus all of the island work that's pending.
correct.
So right now,
I came up to about $7 million there for that.
right.
And if we've got in Proposition 1, we've got about 5.9 left over, correct?
Mhm.
And then about $2 million we've never issued that we can issue for the tax bond.
Right.
So that'll kick it up to about 7.8, 7.9.
Mhm.
That's for tax. That's for tax bond purposes. So we probably have the money to handle all that right
Right,
now.
so just continue with Proposition 1, issue that contingency fee and.
And then we really need to wrap our heads around, I think the entire board needs to wrap our heads around this reclamation. The actual cost versus, water rights versus increase in operational costs.
I believe that you need to, the operation cost one thing, but the financing part of it, I think the Texas Water Development Board needs to be utilized. And I think part of this recent amendment that was just passed with Bill 107 or something, where you're allowed to refine the financing bill that they allowed, the capital investment property fund thing.
We're not real privy
They
to
need
that
to be
information.
utilized.
Yes.
They're the ones, I believe, where the money should be coming from. That's just mine. And there's some grant money that I think is available also.
Right.
For that type of, project.
If we do want to do this reclamation project, the way I was figuring, it's 6.8 plus the $2 million pipeline, we're looking at about 8.8, let's say $9 million to handle this reclamation project. And that probably needs to be kept separate. Let's get our existing facilities up to speed where they need to be. I think we have the money for it.
You've already got the plant in wherever it is in East Texas that's already in operation. That's the one single plant.
On the reclamation
On the
side.
reclamation.
Yes.
You've already got your study done, and I think you can qualify for getting some grant money.
Right. I mean, the two routes that we're looking for is because,
I don't believe in the straight financing on it, but...
Right, because with reclamation, we have this feasibility phase or a master plan that was funded 50% through Bureau Reclamation. And so really what that feasibility study opens the door for is Title 16 funds. And even though that's really tied to federal appropriations, so even though that hasn't been approved in 5 years because of, the differences between Congress and the President, if that Title 16 funding does get cleared through House or through federal appropriations, that could be a 25% grant.
But we can't bank on it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then as far as for the Water Development Board with current existing programs, I mean, this is a clean water state revolving fund project. So
I believe we have to utilize those before you even, that's my...
Well, then maybe we need to probably get some more funding options. You guys can work on some more funding options for that second phase of the reclamation and come back to a straight financing, going through the Texas Water Development Board, and getting back with us and see, hey, we can do it or not.
Right. Well, their next deadline to submit project information forms would be March 2nd. And that could be, I don't know if you want to include the additional phases of Port Isabel or just limit that request to what we're talking about here at the workshop.
I think you need to base it off what you're currently doing.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Mr. Thomas?
We're still on item 4, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Under Andy Bowie, I'm getting $850,000. Is that correct?
830.
Mine says subtotal Andy Bowie wastewater treatment plant, $850,000.
But they finished item 2. Item 2 is complete. We did that.
Under item 4, unless...
No. Item 2, if you look under Andy Bowie, that number 2 on the far left, the clarifier, number 1 scum box replacement, you guys already finished that.
20 grand.
That's
Oh, so
20
we're
grand.
back in the
Yeah.
20 grand out. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. And then on the next one, I'm looking down at
1617.
A total of 2467, correct?
That's both plans combined.
I'm going to take out the 20 grand. Okay. 2447.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't see anything under item 4 where we're talking about $5 million.
No, what he...
Someone enlighten me about this, please.
No, I just jumped back to the first item.
Right. He's taking the wastewater portion of work out of reclaimed water
Yeah.
and then adding it to the island wastewater
All right.
plant.
All right, very good. I'm sorry, I was out of line. Any other questions on Andy Bowie and Isla Blanca? No? We're getting enlightened, aren't we?
Yeah, we got it.
All right. Number 5, raw water conversion for irrigating.
So this one took some extra time and didn't make it into the packet, but I got these handouts to everybody. I just passed out right before the workshop. And so basically we're looking at 3 main projects in our raw water conversion. The first one being the Port Isabel High School and the softball fields. And so basically that was the one that was included on the Series 2007 bond, but since we ended up having to put additional money still at Station 19, we basically lost our funding for this project.
Yeah, we did.
And so right now, just updating the cost estimate with current, inflation, time has gone by. We're looking at $150,000 to complete that work today. And so that's item number one. And so for item number two is getting raw water conversion for this Port Isabel Little League. And it's shown as $125,800, but sort of one component to that is a new pump station at Reservoir One that would feed both Long Island Village and the PI Little League. So that whole pumping cost to pull out of Reservoir One is included in Long Island Village's cost estimate.
Okay, let's go back to item number one.
Okay.
That's something we had on the 2000 revenue bond. We had it for 100,000.
Right.
You know, when it was originally brought up by Mr. Galvan, the cost estimate was about 60, 80, 90,000, okay, originally. And now it's up to 150, so I'm just wondering what's the deal here? How come it jumped to 150?
Well, 25,000 is basically adding a pressure storage tank on the site itself, because a lot of the time our raw water's turned off and we can't really give a reliable service without getting some kind of storage on their end. So
Okay.
that's a new component that wasn't in the prior
And
estimate.
then that's the most challenging part of the plan here, is you have to have a storage tank to supply water, like an elevator storage maybe, or some sort of, because once you start pumping
Water tower.
water to the reservoir, if they stop the pumps or tend to change areas where they irrigate, the pressure's gonna build up on the pipe and then explode. So it has to have a relief, like an elevator storage tank where it can pump water in, they stop anything, do whatever, and then the water keeps going in and then out, in and out of the tank.
Okay.
And that's what was the most challenging part, that we need a storage facility.
I
And
got you.
Charles came up with an idea of using like smaller pressure reducing tanks at each station, you know, when they're gonna be utilizing at 25,000 apiece. So,
Okay.
3 of them.
3 of them. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really to try to get, I mean, they need to be sized based on whatever the usage is going to be at each site, and then we'll kind of try to get
Go
those
from there.
details further down the road.
I'm just, you know, I've been at this for a long time now, I just tired of irrigating all these fields with drinking water. It's just, we gotta stop that somehow. And if we can get a couple of these done and get them in our budget, I mean, 150, we could probably get it in our next year's budget.
The
Yes,
next-
sir.
My understanding that the entities were gonna pay for it with the savings,
Correct.
and we were gonna finance it for them.
Correct.
Was how the last has been,
Correct.
been in several phases.
Right, we were gonna put it up front, and we were gonna keep charging them their portable rate until we recoup our capital cost. That's what our intention is that correct?
Right. And then the second challenging part was making sure that the independent school district, convincing them to use that water, because they were against using raw water for the
Safety.
health issues with the students, you know, kids.
How many places in the valley are doing that already? I know Harlingen does it, and I think maybe McAllen might do it already, so there's not an issue with health or anything like that, and you know, we're trying to do what's best for the entire district, and if we need to do it, we just do it, and you know, if they don't like it, that's their problem. That's the way I look at it. Mr. Wilburn?
Yes. All
You
this
like that?
irrigation water will be substituting how many gallons of drinkable water per year?
Charles had that figures.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I don't have that number on top of me,
It
on
was
top of my head.
126 acre feet or something, I think, just for Long Island Village, I think.
I remember a 63 acre feet coming into play.
163 acre feet per year for Long Island Village.
No, 63
That's
acres
what the process is.
for Long Island Village. I think Long Island Village and PI, or maybe even included the high school, was about 63 acre feet. I got a,
Well, I got a number here.
Chemical,
Yeah, I've got a number here, and it's 16 million, a little over 16 million gallons per year. That was one of my calculations that was done partly in 2007. So we're pretty close to that.
And over the last year, they probably haven't been watering a whole lot.
Yeah.
That would be a tremendous savings to these different entities also, when it pays out.
When it pays out.
Whatever year, if you stand on the agreement.
Long term, long term.
Long term.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
And then again, I have the independent school districts total for 1 year was 3.5 million gallons of water.
Who was 16 million gallons?
16 Long Island,
Long Island, back then?
yeah, back then.
How many?
16,
16, okay. Good enough.
It all adds up.
a little bit over 16.1.
All right.
But I don't think you can add this into revenue bond. I don't think to pay
Oh.
for this project, you can do that out of revenue bonds. I don't think you can do that, can you? Is that where you're trying to go with this?
I don't know, that's just,
For
I
the
think
funding?
we need to come up with some funding. I think the
Well-
150 and the 125, we can probably put in a budget somewhere, in our regular budget.
But I mean, just talking about Port Isabel High School, since there's been resistance in the past, I mean, don't we
Right.
need to have an approved billing agreement with each
We have to.
customer?
Yeah, we probably have to do that, you're right.
And again, that was the football field conversion on one. The other one, I didn't see it until I saw the bottom part. It's 3.2 million on the baseball field. So
And then they got a softball
Yeah.
field now too, and I think they got a soccer field. Yes, sir, Mr. Thomas?
You made a statement about if the high school doesn't like it, is there any way we can force them to go onto the raw water?
we need to get into asking our attorney on that, because if they want treated water, is there any way that we can stop them from purchasing the treated water? We
The
gotta
answer
try
is
to
no,
get-
am I correct? The answer is
What I
no.
think.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Didn't the state mandate water conservation to a point, maybe there's some state offices that was pushing for the conservation and preservation of all these kind of things up there and everything? Come in, doing any rounds on the state, put the state on.
David, still using the same amount of gallons, it's whether we treat it or not treat it. The same amount of gallons on the greens, on the golf course, on the school.
And we're saving quite a bit of electricity at the water plant, be saving all the
I'm not
chemical
saying we're not
costs.
saving
I mean,
money,
Yeah.
but we're
the
not
thing is-
saving water.
Like, to use a water conservation argument, it's kind of gonna actually do the opposite, because basically you're giving them lower cost water, so it's gonna give them an incentive to use more. So you're actually gonna increase your water usage, not decrease it, by putting people on raw water.
Y'all are in the business, your business here is you sell water to make money and then you pay for it.
Right, but a person, if they're paying, $2.50 per gallon, and then they're gonna get cut back to 46 cents per thousand gallon, well, then they're gonna have no concern with a bill, because it's only 46 cents instead of paying 2.50. And so that's gonna do the opposite effect of a conservation.
Well, the school system itself, they're not worried about money.
Well, they're not
Yeah,
worried
but
about
Lonely
it.
Village is a different story.
As
All
far
right.
as everybody else that goes through that,
I hear you.
rest of the world.
All right, no, any further discussion on that? Go to item 6, security improvements.
Okay, on that one, I talked to Orbit Broadband, our web net system that we have throughout the water treatment, water plants, wastewater plant, and the office. And they gave us a quotation for, the paper in there? Let's see.
8962.
Yeah, 89,
$9,000.
and close to $9,000 for 18 surveillance cameras and 2 monitors, which will be monitored 24/7. Actually, at one site at the water treatment plant, they can be there monitoring like during the night, and the other one may be here at the office. So at least we can have some kind of video surveillance that we can see when nobody's there, especially like at the wastewater treatment plants, Laguna Vista, Andy Bowie. Most concern is Laguna Vista and Port Isabel, because the island is pretty safe. There's
Well,
there's
I
crime over there.
think we thought this was
But-
pretty safe too, though.
Yeah, we thought so, but
But the 18 cameras would be spread out in
yes,
different places?
wastewaters in the island, Laguna Vista, the water treatment plant, probably just the gate.
Mhm.
The main office here, because we have some vehicles back here,
Okay.
the wastewater plants and the warehouse. So,
Is that enough cameras, guys?
No, honestly, no.
and
Probably not enough.
I mean, it's very, very basic.
we
At best.
we can start off with that.
They can add cameras, can't they, anytime?
You can you can always add some more cameras. Just that we went out, Victor took them out to the sites and showed every site, and where they needed more or less a camera, and 18 was a number.
Well, maybe we can start with that, if you can get it somehow, find it.
And I thought the price was
The
pretty
big deal
reasonable.
is the recorder. What you need is how long the recording capacity is, because That's what chews it all up. No one's gonna be watching the camera.
He
It's only when
mentioned
you
all
need to go
that.
back
What
and
was it,
review the
Victor?
camera.
I know he mentioned all that to us, and because we wanted,
It doesn't really say on that, but
yeah.
How long would they be able to keep the data on the
Uh,
cameras? 2 weeks, 1 week?
Yeah, the
3
last
weeks?
time we had said is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 week cycle?
2 weeks, yeah.
the hard drive capacity.
It's enough time to.
That ought to be enough.
Something
Yeah,
happens.
Know if
something-
you've been around in 2 weeks.
If you don't know.
You got figured out in 2 weeks, you didn't need it anyway.
Yeah.
All right, good job. Any questions on that?
We better do it.
All right. Item number 7, employee retirement system. I put this on there.
I didn't know what, you.
Okay, and that's probably why we got all these people here and from the employees,
Yeah,
huh?
I'm glad they are.
Usually the employees that are here is because of the workshop. If there's any questions on water,
okay.
wastewater, that's why they're here.
All right.
Need anything from them, they're.
What I would like to do is have staff, this is just my opinion, and if you guys agree with me, that's cool. I would like to see, to get with our financial advisors, we got one guy right here, to get with our financial advisors to present to the employees the merits of our current retirement system versus a 403B, 401K, whatever, 457, maybe go back 10, 20 years to show them, like if they were in a 403B plan, and, in a mutual funds, what would their money, how much money would they have in the kitty, compare it with what's been going on with their current retirement system. I think you guys are getting shorted, to be honest with you, in the current retirement system you're in. And I think if it switched over to a 403B or whatever, I would like some type of study done, presented to the employees. I'm just trying to look out for the employees for their retirement.
And I'd like to find the consequences of what happens if we do.
Pros and cons. I want pros and cons of everything, yeah. Mr. Wilmerton?
Yes, possibly, Mr. Chairman, and I spoke to your insurance agent the last meeting I was here about the same thing, and possibly the, your present financial group, have them come and present a seminar to you and your organization on all those matters.
Well, that's what I was just saying.
And their options, and here's where you're at, here's where you've been, here's where you're going, ages and seniors, and how many retired roles, and
That's not as part of his role, though.
But is that something you guys can do?
No, we look at the
Blabber.
funded percentage
Blabber,
for the
blabber,
credit rating
blabber.
agencies to make sure that how close you are to getting fully funded, and are you within the range of other municipalities? Yeah, that's pretty much the extent that we go.
Okay, I know that's your extent to what you do now, but if we were gonna pay extra to have a study done and you can present it to the employees on, hey, if you guys were in the stock market, this is how much money you'd be having instead of your current retirement system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the other, what's her name, the other.
Is that something you guys would do or not?
TCDRS.
TCDRS is the one
Texas,
that needs to.
Districts, counties,
Mr.
retirement
Thomas?
system.
Well, first I'd like to ask, are we gonna run these meetings under Robert Rule of Order, or are we just gonna get up here and jabber back and forth? Do I have the floor, sir?
You have the floor now.
Gentlemen, you don't think you're in the market, you're in the market. A huge part of your investments, your retirement investments, are in hedge funds. If you go to the printout, when did we go up there for that, Austin?
June of 2014. They have a presentation mostly in June, July, every month, because that's when they complete all the reports.
These funded, I kept it all, I threw it away. I wish you would have told me not to throw the stuff away.
No, we
that
can
I
download
kept.
it from the website.
All over the country, they are cutting benefits, they're cutting, you can contribute up to 7% now, they're cutting, some places are cutting back to 3%. I know Detroit is a horrible place to think about. They have billions of dollars in unfunded liabilities in their pension plans. They go bankrupt, they got nothing. You're in a managed plan now. From what I could gather from that meeting almost a year ago, that I finally threw the notes away because I didn't think anybody was even interested. because I asked down the line right there, you want me to talk to the guys of what I got up there? Nobody said a word. Okay? You remember that? Carlos, do you remember that? Charles, you remember me asking you that? Victor, you remember me asking you that, didn't I? Talk to the managers, see if they want me to just show them what's happening around the country that's bad. I think you guys are going to be better off if you convert this into individual whatever 401k type plans than staying in first.
Well, Whitey, one thing that I think gets lost by leaving the state system is the 2-to-1 match that happens at the time of retirement. And then also if you have accounts in other state retirement systems, your service time here is still being accrued through your other, like for my municipal
That's
accounts.
correct, Charles, but they're slashing these things right here in Texas
Right, but
and
it's
all over the country
not an apples to
as
apples.
to how much the guys can put in and how much they're gonna match. Okay?
Mr. Thomas?
I will not bring this up again ever.
All right, thank you.
That's the end of conversation on that one.
He's got some good points. I'm not saying, none of us here is saying that we're still not gonna do the 2-to-1. The district is still not gonna do the 2-to-1. So, I wanna ask Adrian something. Adrian, who can do something like that for our people? Compare their current system and what they would, if they would be better off, the pros and cons of converting to a 401k, 403b, 457. Who can do that for us?
I'll go back and I'll research it. I'll ask the other guys in the office.
Okay.
What they recommend, and I'll report back to you.
That's all I'm asking. That's why I had it on the agenda, because I really think, and I think Mr. Thomas thinks, that they're gonna be better off going that route. Okay? That's all I'm just bringing it up for. I don't wanna create any waves. We're still gonna do our 2-to-1 match. They still wanna put their 7.5% in, we match it with the 15%. I don't have a problem with that.
We
Okay?
can get it done. Yes, we'll get it done.
That's all I want. All right. Okay?
Just want the best deal we can get for
Want the best deal for the guys.
Yeah.
And the girls. Yes. All right, workshop adjourned. We'll reconvene at 6. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 11th day of February 2015 at the hour of 6 p.m. for the consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on February 6, 2015 at 10:40 a.m. in accordance with the Texas Opens Meeting Act, and a copy has been furnished to the county clerk's office at Cameron County, Texas. We do have a quorum. We have 4 members. The notice of the meeting has been duly posted as required by law. I'll dispense with item 2. We've already done the pledge during the workshop. Item 3 is invitation to the audience for discussion. No discussion? I would like, just for the record, I would like to also just state that Mr. Thomas during the workshop brought up a good point. I would like to conduct these meetings a little more formally. If you want to say something, raise your hand before. I don't want any conversations going back and forth. If you want to speak, raise your hand and I'll go ahead and acknowledge you. That way it keeps it on an even keel. Item 4, consider and approve minutes for the workshop meeting and regular meeting. Actually, you know what? Let's jump to item number, that's okay, we'll jump to item number 8. Consider and approve selection of appointment of a new member to the Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors vacancy. Floor is open. Oh, before anything takes place, I would like to, I'd be remiss if I didn't announce this. I got some notes here. Since the vacancy occurred, I have my notes here somewhere. All right, there's been 5 people that have approached me to fill the vacancy. Okay, I want to read their names out. I'm going to do them in order of the phone calls I received of the people that want to be considered for the board vacancy. If I left anybody out, Mr. Galvan, let me know, okay?
Yes, sir.
I think the first one is, call me with John Toby, Laguna Vista, Texas. Second person that called was Martin Cantu Jr., Port Isabel, Texas. The next person who wanted to be considered was Mr. Ray Puente, Port Isabel, Texas. The next call I got was Mr. Baldemar Alanis from Port Isabel, Texas. And then the last call I received was Mr. Norris Fletcher from Laguna Vista, Texas. Am I leaving anyone out? Board?
Everybody that I heard. Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Make a motion that we appoint Martine Kim to the board.
Junior?
Yes. I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Thomas and a second by Mr. Wells to appoint Mr. Martin Cantu Jr. to the board.
Will you accept the appointment?
Okay. To the board, are you willing to accept the appointment? Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. For the record, I'd like to state that all these gentlemen that did express interest in this position, only one of them has been to the last 2 meetings to find out what's going on, and that was Mr. Cantu Jr. I appreciate it. All right, item number 9, administering the oath of office. Come on up.
Sorry.
Raise your hands. Raise your hands.
Order. I don't even have a 9 on here. Nobody gives me anything.
We have the friendly judge.
Right up there. Our friendly judge is here.
Did you bring your money? You don't let this go
Good report, buddy.
Good job, man. Say, bud. Welcome.
Take the oath first.
You know, I already read because Valentine's coming, you know, and I want to charge this time, you know, because I have very few weddings this year. I don't know. I don't know if people are getting smarter or what. I have to charge today because I'm in town 50% from this year.
Checks in the mail.
Okay. Raise your right hand, Mr. Cantu, and this is raise what?
There are no places.
Yes, there is places.
Director?
Place 2? Place 2. We have place 2.
You replacing
In
me?
the name of the authority of this
I thought I was.
say I, do solemnly swear, or affirm, that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the Laguna Water District Board of Directors, Place 2, of the State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and law of the United States and of this state. So help me God. By the authority vested in me as your friendly judge, I certify this as director of the duly appointed by the members of the Laguna Mare Water District. Congratulations and welcome to the Paluca Arena. Let me tell you, I served in this board in 1978. I don't know if I still look old or good looking, but I really enjoyed that time that I served because you always really want to work on the board and you see progress, and you put extra water lines, extra plants, sewer plants. I mean, and the valuation, you know, of the Willamette area, which we are from Fresno, to Brownsville, or Arcadia, you know, this beautiful area here, you know, last year, I don't know what we stayed up here, but it was Texas Supreme Court that we had to spend $15 million for sewer school. So this is what this water district has done. The growth, but I'm sorry that we can't keep that money and we have to send it back to the Rutherford plant. Anyway, Martin, congratulations. Board member, I think you have a young boy, very educated, and I know he will have an awesome career, and he gives me, Martin, you're going to be happy to see him because he's really, any person that helps you, you know, he's going to have patience.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Come on up. Sit down.
Come explain it.
Jeff, I need that. Okay, Scott, thank you.
Take it easy. Have a good night.
All right. You get them on Friday. I get mine electronically. Huh? Yeah, that's a little less, yeah. And then I make notes on the side, you know. It's official. Thank you, Benny. Item number 4, consider and approve minutes for the workshop meeting and the regular meeting of January 28, 2015.
So move.
A motion by Mr. Wells,
Second.
second by Mr. Thomas. Question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, general manager's report.
Yes, I'd like to mention, Mr. Sherman and members of the board, that we attended an award ceremony up in Brownsville for United Way, and they presented us with an award where the district gave like over 500% from one year to the next. So thank the employees. They wanted to thank the employees. They gave us that award and plaque, but they did give last year more than any other years before, and I just wanted to mention that.
Good. Yeah.
Thank the employees on that part. Thank you.
Okay. That's it. Item 6, district engineers report. Series 2012 bond projects balance update.
All right, so yeah, I just provided the spreadsheet here in the attachment.
Okay.
It went out with the board packet. So just to give you a recap, since 2007, balance is down to 0. We're only going forward with the Series 2012 activity as far as tracking. So for fiscal year 2015, we've invoiced basically $641,000 this fiscal year, beginning October 1st. And so in open purchase orders, which include the Quadras pump station, some wastewater collection, which is Laguna Vista, and then the reuse is Corollo's contract, and water plant 2 is basically the only thing open at this point, the chlorine dioxide. Now we still have open purchase orders of about $310,000. And so that leaves the remaining balance that's uncommitted in Proposition 2, or Proposition 1, excuse me, of $6,730,576.
You had told us earlier in the workshop 5.9.
Well, because I'm reserving $800,000 for wastewater collection, because that Laguna Vista project that's going to come out for bid, that's going to be a good portion of the money. So that's why you see the difference in the balance.
Okay, the in-situ-form stuff and
Right.
Whatever we need. Okay.
Right.
All right. Any questions on that for the engineer? Yes, sir, Mr. Wolverton.
Yes, on Quadras pump station, I was out there this morning, and it's not done yet, they're still.
Right. Yeah. The remaining balance, I think on that construction contract's about $85,000, and so they have about another 30 days of site work. They were actually cutting off the lines today to abandon that existing portion of the pump station, and so now that got finished up, they'll be able to start with demo, and so there's about 30 days of site work that's still pending to get that project final. But we already have the new pumps and the new pump station, and they both came online probably within the past week or 2 weeks. That's when we finally pulled, because we had a pump in the old can on the interim condition since a year and a half probably, not this Memorial Day, but the one before. And so now we pulled that pump just recently out of the existing can, extended the shaft, and dropped it in the new pump station. So now, just this Monday, the SCADA work got finished up. Actually, there's still some final work that's still pending, but that's where we're at with it.
Right, they said they get spent up, but I noticed the holding tank was empty.
Oh, well, we did a shutdown, because we had to cut the line.
And I was there about a month and a half ago, and it was the same status, it was empty and there was no pumps running or anything.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know.
That they cleaned it out, was that 2.5 months ago?
We cleaned it out.
It was longer than that, longer than that?
It was cleaned in July. That's when we went out there and drained the tank and got up there and power washed it all the way down to remove 100% of the
Yeah.
silt.
But I noticed it was down, and there was like a little sandbar on that one side, on this side here, and,
Right.
he was telling me that what you see down there is only about 6 or 8 inches deep.
Yeah.
Even that's thick into it.
Right, and I would say the silt that we pulled out was probably, what, about 6 feet?
Yeah. I was way more.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of what was stacked up out back there.
Some of it, yeah, I don't know if it's been hauled off, but yeah.
Well, hats off to you guys too, because y'all were the ones that went in there and cleaned that out, and what the contract was supposed to do.
Right, well, yeah, we had a contract.
I wasn't impressed with your contract at all. That's my opinion, that's my personal opinion. Then I went on out, and my other question was, out there at your river pump station out there,
Mhm.
I noticed that, out there too, that, the pumps weren't running out there, and you haven't been pulling water off the river.
Yeah, well, whenever we place an order, we have that certain window that we run the pumps, I would imagine, based on.
We only run for about a week, and we actually just pump,
Oh, and then pull it back down.
we only pump for a week.
Right, and then there's another Reservoir 4 on Rice Track Road, and that's a pretty good-sized reservoir that's between the river pump station and Cuates.
Yeah,
And
I
that's,
noticed that at the rear down part of that too, that was down about 1.5 foot, that was a reservoir.
Right.
Rear too, it was
And-
about 1.5 foot.
and as far as getting silt from accumulating back again in that ground storage tank, I mean, really what we looked at is, because those pumps don't have a lot of run time at Reservoir 4, and so that wet well portion that's in that pumps probably has, about 2 feet of silt. So we're going to go in there and clean all that up, so we don't push it down to our ground storage tank at Cuates.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
And then the other thing was on the entrance side in the river, the open river part there, where the sheet metal panels are down in there and everything. I put my tape measure down in there from the bottom of that building, from the top of that foundation on it, that's about a 2-foot foundation on that building.
Mhm.
It was, 26 feet down to touch the water.
Right.
And I did that back in 11, and I asked Bobby Bella how long the pipes were down in there. And he told me they're 40 foot,
46 feet. Yes.
they're
Mhm.
46 feet.
Yeah.
And where my tape hit that water, and then I look out into the river out there like that half of that one side of the entrance, not up half of it, there's an island sticking up there with bamboo growing on it. And then on the other side, coming in the other side there was the vegetation growing up in on top of the land mass in there too. So our pipes are back inside here, down in there, they're sucking, and we have this fill in here. And then, but we're right back from the curve in the river right there, so we get a little eddy in there. So that might be a maintenance issue that might need to be coming up. And then, we had a problem, as I spoke to earlier, if I may continue, about, didn't we have some going back into the river, a certain amount of water when we were pumping out because of the foot valve problem or something like that?
Well, actually, we only run one pump at a time, because if we pump 2 pumps, we actually get less water than just running one by itself. And what we've done is we've installed valves to stop that loss, and then we know from operations how to treat it so we don't have those losses.
Yeah. Well, and then but if we've got a pipe down there in that mud, then these guys got heartburn all the time trying to keep all that
Right. I mean,
valve down in that mud
we can look at clearing up that silt as well. I mean,
No, the check valves are on top. They're on top of the
They're
pump
on
station.
top.
Yeah, they're on top. They're not in the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. So every time that the check valve is down, there's not gonna be any flow coming back in there.
Right.
They're right in front of the pump actually. So,
When did we put those
I
in?
noticed out there too that the river height was down 2 feet from the water mark. The normal water marking on the side of the panels and the growth and stuff down there. And as I had alluded to earlier, that my conversation with the water master, who wasn't the water master himself, it was a gentleman, Anthony, who he was, had his numbers on there for him. And he had said that there's a stage 2 number in the river, keeping it at that level everything, is not having demand for water.
Right.
But I did notice that the debris flowing out and downstream.
Something for them to look at. Okay. Your next item,
all right. Yeah. I
what's
think-
the pump station?
Well, it sounds like we already sort of talked about it, just the construction status. So basically, the SCADA improvement at Reservoir 4 was part of the same contract. And so it's about 95%. There's some isolators for the VFDs we're going to change out. But after that's done, here in a couple of days, we'll have, by next week, we'll have the SCADA restored at Reservoir 4, and I don't even know how long that's been manual, but we've replaced that actuator, so it's working again, and we got about 30 days of site work still pending to finish out Coates Pump Station. And there is the final change order, which I'll present at the next board meeting, but I mean, with all the plus and minus in quantities, we're talking about an $800 increase at the end, but I'll present that at the next meeting.
Okay. So you're saying about 30 days site work left on that?
Yeah,
Okay. It's overdue.
definitely.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's
Item
it.
7, let's go to item 7, Director of Operations report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just to go back on what we had during the month of January, we still have the burglary still under investigation. I just spoke to Detective Mora this afternoon, and they do have a couple of leads they're working on it. We did run the reward ad in the newspaper, and we're going to run it for another couple of weeks, see if anything comes out of that. We also have in the meter side, we did swap 21 5/8-inch meters for the month, and we did 8 1-inch meters and 1 2-inch meter for the month of January.
You did what?
We swapped out 21 5/8 meters, and then 8 1-inch meters and 1 2-inch meter. And we still have, I know we still have on order some 4 and 6 inches that we're still going to swap out and replace. I did have to call Southern Transmission to come in for an emergency repair on lift station 12 here on Champion. We had the top part of the wet well, the manhole cover kind of caved in, and that cement on the top was only about maybe not even a 6 inches foundation. So they came in. So far, they've already put in a new slab on top with a new door frame, but the whole inside they're going to have to resurface and put in a cement lining and some epoxy lining on that. Under emergency, we had the guys go out there, and one of them, as soon as they stepped on that cement, it just kind of went in, so we had that done. And in the distribution side, we had some taps installed for the month, still over here at Las Joyas. I think we're up to 12 total that they did. And they did finish the East Retama water line extension, and we do have, everybody's already connected to the new line that they replaced. And that's about it.
Any other extensions going on in the near future?
We have the Laguna Vista that we're going to be working on, and that's the whole
Ebony?
beach side, from David Cuero all the way down to Broadway, all the way to the end.
The alley?
Yes, in the alley.
Any questions? Thank you, Victor. Item 10, consider and approve appointment of secretary for the Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we're looking to see if you all can appoint a secretary at this time.
You want to do this? I'd like to nominate Martin Cantu Jr.
You have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It's coming fast and furious for you tonight.
That's why he left.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make this simple. I'll make a motion that
Let me get to item number 11. Let me read it first. Is that where you're going?
we're still under
10. We're still on 10. Let's go to item number 11. Consider and approve reorganization of officers for the committees list. Mr. Thomas.
correct, sir. I'd just like to say I'll make a motion that we appoint Mr. Cantu to all the positions that Nancy Martinez held.
I like it.
Yeah, because she had some good ones.
Yeah. So that would mean Mr. Cantu would join the audit committee. Mr.
Going
Cantu
there
would
and
join
go
the
to,
professional
item
professional
11.
services committee and the budget
Look at
finance
Give
committee.
me that.
Number 11.
Is there still time to reconsider?
Sorry. You're in
You already
for the
stamped it, right, Victor?
duration.
All right.
There you go.
No.
second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You could have opposed it.
Moving along. All right, item 12, discuss and approve resolution authorizing the issuance of Laguna Madre Water District Waterworks and Sewer System Revenue Refunding Bond Series 2015, semicolon, approving an official statement, semicolon, authorizing the execution of paying agent register agreement and purchase contract, semicolon, authorizing other matters related to the select outstanding revenue notes to be refunded, and to approve final terms of the bonds and providing for an immediate effective date.
Good evening.
You're up.
My name's Adrian Galvan. I'm with Estrada and Hosa and Company for the record. Noel Valdez is here. He's your bond attorney from McCall Parkhurst, and he plays a big role in this, so I'm glad he's here with us, and he's available for questions. There's a presentation that was handed out here this afternoon that'll have this cover on it.
Okay.
And the purpose of our meeting here is to talk about a refinancing, or what we call in municipal bonds, a refunding opportunity. If you go to page 1 of the attached presentation and look at the second column, the district has 2007 revenue notes outstanding that have a call date of March 2016. So on that date, they can be called in and replaced with new bonds. Right now, the amount of bonds outstanding that could be refunded for savings is 5,670,000. And in the market as of yesterday, which is the second column there, if you refund 5,670,000 of existing bonds, the district could save 390,000 on a present value basis, today's dollars. And that represents a percentage of 6.894%. Usually, an issuer will do a refunding if you're getting between 3 and 5% of savings or higher. So it's above that threshold. And the annual savings is about $48,000 a year between now and 2027. Your old interest rate is about a 4.662. We would replace it with a 2.61. All this is preliminary. We're just giving you a snapshot of what the market is now. And if you flip to page 2, that shows the bonds that are outstanding. The column that says existing coupon, that's what you're paying out on the books. You're paying between 4% and 5% every 6 months on these bonds. And again, we would replace it with the 2.61%. The difference is about 1.5 to 2.4 percentage points down. Another benefit of the refinancing, once you step down the annual payments, your reserve fund, your debt service reserve fund, which is fully funded, I've checked with Mr. Galvan, it's fully funded, so now that you've got savings, some of that reserve fund is free and clear. It goes into the deal, so you borrow less.
Okay.
The money follows the bonds,
Okay.
and it provides that cash flow savings. If you look at page 3,
So it goes to pay off some of the debt.
yeah, you have old bonds, 117,000 of that money gets kicked into the deal, so we borrow that much less. That's how you get additional save. But that's your money, so if you look at page 3 at the bottom, we do the calculation where even though you're saving 508,000 on a present value basis, we subtract out the 117. That's your original money to begin with. So we gotta make sure that follows. There's 2 ways to sell a deal like this. We could go and negotiate a transaction like we did back in 07, pick an underwriting team, and negotiate the best rates available. That requires an official statement, ratings. There's a process. What's happened since 07, what's grown in popularity is these banks, commercial banks, have been really active in buying municipal debt. So we've got Regions, Capital One, J.P. Morgan, Chase, Wells. All these banks will competitively, they'll fight over trying to get a deal like this because of the size and the structure, less than 15 years. So, and we ran it both ways. What gives you the most savings is going through this competitive process. So what we're looking for today is with Noel's help here, is a parameters approval means you delegate somebody, a chairman or a general manager, to execute on behalf of the district, as long as we hit certain parameters, the minimum savings thresholds that you guys set, make sure that everything's in line. What we would do is we would put out a memo to these banks saying, hey, on this date, give me your best bid. And we would give it to the bank with the best bid as long as it hits the parameters. If none of them hit the parameters, then there's no deal, there's no expense, there's no cost. So that's another benefit of this competitive process. Versus the other one, we go out, get the ratings, do all these expenses, you get to the day of pricing, the market's not there. And the reason I mentioned the market movement, now I'll try to wrap this up quickly. Page 1, from when I ran this, page 1 has 2 columns there. Usually we just show one, but I want to show you, Mr. Galvan asked for we provided a book back on Friday for your packet. From Friday till yesterday, interest rates for this particular deal went up 21 basis points, almost 1/4%. So in just those 3-4 days, we lost, on a present value basis, $53,000 of savings. So this is it's an interest rate sensitive deal. And I went and did research. What has happened since Friday till today? The employment numbers came in stronger on Friday, so the market thinks, hey, the Fed's going to back off and they're going to let interest rates come up. And then Greece happened. So, okay, that's going to help us. Bad things in Greece. Well, the day after that, there's a compromise in Greece. So that works itself out. That's bad for us because now they're back on Friday's news, which is employment numbers and things working out. Yeah. So our advice to you would be put the parameters in place, allow us to go out there and get these bids, and if they hit the savings that you're comfortable with, then we'll lock them up. And if it doesn't, the parameters expire in 6 months. So if it doesn't happen in 6 months, we either come back to you and re-up the parameters and give you an update at that time. Now, right now, like I said, it's at 6.894%. My suggestion would be let's set the parameters at 5% if you're comfortable with that, or we could set it a little higher if you want to be more aggressive. The pressure. The
parameters. We're talking about parameters as far as savings to the district. We're at. I mean, this one's at almost 7% savings. So, do we want our parameters to be around 5%, 5.5%?
What do you think will fly? You're
here you go.
The guy making the big bucks, being our.
Here's the deal. There's more pressure on interest rates to go up, the yields to go up than to go down. And
well, where should we set our threshold?
I would say
5%.
I would say 5%, with the understanding that we're going to try to get you closer to the 7% rate that you've got here. But the 5% just allows us to go forward and move with the documents. But with the understanding that we're going to try to hit this market, and we're going to work the phones with these banks and make sure that they put their best bid out there.
Okay. We also need to designate Mr. Galvan, our general manager.
Yeah, I'll let Noel speak to this about the delegated.
Absolutely. And this is the draft of the resolution that was drafted, this section 2B. Right now, as was back in 2012, the chairman or the general manager is authorized to approve all final terms. The way that would occur would be when the financial advisor in consultation with management would feel that it's time to go and execute the transaction. We would fill out what's called an approval certificate, evidencing all the final interest rates, the redemption terms, and those. And then I would, if the chairman's available, approach that same day, approach you to get executed copies. If not, the general manager can execute that final certificate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And the only thing I would say is that's the way the documents are in right now. Right now, the document that was distributed in your packets or should have been distributed in your packets have a threshold of 4%. So I would just ask that in the motion, if you were to so move to approve this item, that you specify in your motion that you would like the threshold to be 5%. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
5.5.
So 5.5 would be getting to a present value savings of $311,000. Right now it's at $390,000. So that's your wishes. We'll put that in there.
You think we can pull that off? No.
I wish.
He doesn't have a crystal ball.
I wish I did.
All we count wise.
I was planning to show up with just one column on this page 1, and the market moved 20 basis points in 3 days. Is a lot of movement. And usually, when
could we lock it?
If we could do it, and we could try to lock it in a week and a half. It's really getting the draft of the document out, comments, final version of the document to solicit, to get the bids, giving them a week. So I'd say 2 weeks, we could lock it.
There's a lot of money out there right now.
I'm comfortable with his recommendation of 5%, to be honest with you. A 5% savings for the district, I'm comfortable there. But, I mean, you can save us 5.5. I mean, you never know,
No, it
right?
could be 10.
It could be 5.5.
It could be 10. If
there's
rates
more
go
bad
the other
news
way.
in the world, it could be, it could be even higher.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to throw a lot of money right now. I'd like to make a motion at 5.5. If you don't want to second it, you don't want to.
You wanna carve that in stone?
I think they can do it.
I'll second it.
All right.
Let's do it.
A motion and a second to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of the Laguna Madre Water District Waterworks bonds at 5.5, with the parameters at 5.5% savings. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Wells, a second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
What happened to
You'll do a good job.
I will.
I know
I'll
you
do the best
And
work.
if it don't work, they'll be cussing me.
But you got 6 months. You got 6 months to do it, right?
I'm gonna try to do it in 2 weeks for you guys.
Do it. All right.
It sounds like we need to.
The way the market's going, it's interest rate just.
Exactly.
All right. Item 13, discuss and approve a resolution approving the optional redemption of the Laguna Madre Water District Unlimited Tax Bond Series 2005 maturing 2016 through 2045, calling all such maturities for early redemption and approving the authorization, the execution, and performance of all documents and procedures related thereto.
On this one, if you go to page 6 of the presentation, it's a twofer here.
2 for 1.
2 for 1. So what we're looking at here, we were asked to look at the possibilities of cash defeasing or paying off your existing unlimited tax bond series 2005. You go to page 7.
You get this one of these.
So page 7 shows all the outstanding maturities and the interest rates for the 2005 tax bonds. Those are out there at 4.25% interest rate. And those are callable now. You could write a check, pay it off, and you're done with those. And I know you're not earning 4.25% on your investments. So a lot of the times, I mean, it's like people with credit card debt. I mean, you pay off the stuff that's a higher interest rate.
7 and 8.
So on page 7, you owe $555,000 of bonds right now. You're paying 4.25% interest rate. And if you wrote a check to pay these off, you would need to write a check for $576,000, roughly $576,000. That's going to cover the principal and the last interest payment and the costs associated with taking those out. Page 8, well, I did a present value calculation on this page. You would save $166,000 on a present value basis if I present value your payments. That's your payment stream right there, page 8. Everything that's in that light blue, $30,000 a year, that goes away. So that's annual savings that you never pay again for a check that you write now for $576,000. So off the books, you come out $992,000 on a future value basis, almost $1 million.
What fund does this come out of?
This
The
is-
general fund?
Well, that's what we need. That's
It's
what we're
property
gonna be
tax.
talking about.
It's property tax debt. Unlimited tax bond, series 2005.
Right.
So you'd pay it out of your general fund or INS fund balance if it's overfunded, general fund or other.
That's what one of my questions is our INS overfunded? And I'm sure in the 2005 tax bond, there was a reserve put in there.
Not on the GO.
Not with GEO?
No, the revenue bonds would.
Revenue bonds, we did have a reserve.
Yes, that's fully funded.
I thought on our 2011, we have a reserve in there. And so that's what I was thinking on 2005, we probably have a reserve.
Now, we paid off bonds on 03 issue the same way about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, but we didn't have any reserve money to make our payments. is
Yeah,
what
we'll
I'm
have to
saying.
research how exactly that was done 3 years ago.
Chairman, I'll double check, but you're right. I do believe that with regard to the new bonds, we did incorporate a reserve fund, which is a special feature with regard to general obligation bonds that are payable from the tax.
But on
these were
2005,
not.
we did not have a reserve. We didn't have any reserve. Okay, so that's
That's right.
okay. Good. Do we have an overbalance, and I think we do have a little overbalance in our interest and sinking fund, don't we?
Yeah,
She's looking into it, she's looking into it.
Yeah, we didn't, all the due diligence, we didn't have time to do all this, so we just wanted just to give you a number.
Sure.
So we could start the conversation.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
So we have this 576,000 in extra in the interest and sinking fund we can use and knock it out.
Nice to get rid of that.
That would be very nice to get rid of that.
29% savings, that's a lot.
And if we have to pull a little out of reserve, I don't have a problem with that either.
We
Anybody else?
probably wouldn't have
Not
to
at all.
use the reserve, just what we have.
If we have extra money in that account, let's go ahead and burn it up. Mr. Wolverton?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And your financial advisor, then with that elimination in that, then it would feel, it would make them stronger than they're ready, would be stronger, and then in the future, any other, like bonding or anything they wanted to do, it would give them a stronger platform to work on.
oh, it helps for sure. If you're paying off debt earlier than it's booked,
They would get cheaper money based on the trade.
it helps.
Yes.
It really does.
Awesome.
Seems like a win-win to me.
Came on the right day.
You did. Winner,
So
chicken dinner.
the next steps on that is just the group that's involved, bond counsel, our firm, and the general manager. We'll get with the USDA, get the final payoff amount to a certain day, and work from there. It's a straightforward process. We've done it before with you.
I think you have, yes. Okay. All right, awesome.
We have to make a motion.
Yes, we need a motion, please.
I'll make the motion as we pursue this.
We have a motion by Mr. Wells to approve a resolution approving the optional redemption of the 2005 tax bonds. Do we need a second, please? Second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you all very
Thank you,
much.
Now get to work.
Yes, sir.
Say hello to Noe for us.
I will, thank you.
All right, we haven't seen him in a while. All right. 14, item 14, consider and approve to open a new infrastructure rehab account to apply to 75% of the 40% water rate increase. Mr. Galvan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, we revised all our videos and there was no mention on any of the items to do that. So I kind of looked into it and I mentioned a resolution for that, but there's no need to do a resolution. All you have to do is approve to open an account for that and then we'll do it.
Okay.
That's it. So,
Other questions I can do?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
Jane,
sorry, Ms.
Jane.
Jane.
Okay, I was looking at it today, is there any chance of, reinstating the special project account for the
yeah, Jane,
infrastructure?
I think that one has to get done on the next board meeting. The SDC funding.
No,
we-
I'm not talking about that, I'm
Oh.
talking about, we had a special project account, which Pete closed.
A
Okay.
separate line item, special projects?
Yes,
Okay.
and I didn't know, because I didn't know if it could be, since they were wanting to use it for projects, can we use the same account?
I have-
And
So,
they're both in Fund 3.
is there any fund in there? Any funds in there?
No.
He said it was closed up. Pete said they closed it out. I remember
But
that.
I did talk to the bank, and it
Okay.
is possible to
Be the
reactivate the
same.
account.
That way we keep that 75% of the 40% increase,
Strictly the infrastructure.
strictly for infrastructure, so we know, when you need that money, you pull it out
Right.
strictly for
Once we
infrastructure.
need the money for some project, we'll come back to the board and request.
And we do have projects in the budget.
Right.
We do have, okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Thomas?
Did we ever figure out how much our little increase is gonna
That was my question, too.
generate?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Dan Jackson took a look at it, and then also Jana took a look at it, and they matched up pretty much exactly to the dollar as far as the estimate. And so we're expecting to generate $500,000 in new rate revenue.
Now, that's for this fiscal year or for the total 12-month year?
That's a 12-month period. It's a base rate, so it's fixed every month. And so basically about 300,000 is from the water increase, and 200,000 is from the wastewater increase. And so if we set aside the 75% increase for just infrastructure capital projects, we're talking about the availability of 375,000 annually for both water and wastewater.
How come we figured we'd be making more
I
on
don't know.
I thought we said $1 million.
Yeah, I was expecting this number to be higher myself, but we checked it against the accounts and,
Grand when we figured.
it? Should've made it 50%.
Well, what you all figured out the first time was the whole total of the whole 40%, but this one, if I'm not mistaken, with the other part, the regular plus the 40%. Whatever we had before and
Jane,
plus the 40%.
could you explain that a little better?
We kind of worked the numbers out, but yeah, I think that's what we did the first time. And,
That would be nice. That way I could compare it with what I came up with and see where I went wrong. 'Cause I'm just a history teacher. I'm not a mathematician.
But I have a lot of stuff.
So 500,000. Okay, not as much as we thought. Huh?
yeah, I mean, at 4% over 20 years, that gives us about an ability to issue 4 to 5 million in debt.
The 375.
I tried to make it very painful.
Okay.
Basic's my middle name.
There you
We'll look at that later.
That's what I need, Jane, is another piece of paper to
Hey,
get
I
things
gave
down.
it to you, so it would be easy.
I love you for it.
All right. We have all the information on the floor. Any more questions? We have a motion to consider and approve to open a new infrastructure or special projects account to apply to 75% of the 40% water rate increase.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Thomas,
Second.
second by Mr. Wells. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item 15, consider and approve resolution number 113-02-15, adopting a revised travel policy for the Laguna Madre Water District. Mr. Galvan.
yes, sir, on the, I believe it's the fourth page of the backup that's in there. We added the travel limitations, where it mentions the district's board shall approve all board of directors travel.
No, this is on page
Page
4?
four.
Page
Right.
4?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I was
way
trying-
down at the bottom, travel limitation.
I was trying to find it. There it is. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. I like it.
Pretty simple.
Very good.
We
Thank
just
you.
need approval.
That's good. I like that. Any questions, comments?
Move to adopt.
We have a motion by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Wells. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, consider and approve resolution number 114-02-15, authorizing employees supplemental insurance through section 125 premium plan for the year ending January 31st, 2016. Len, is that you?
Yes, it's just a renewal for the supplemental insurance that we do every year. It's for a full year, starting February the 1st.
This is just housekeeping.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Wells. Second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item 17, consider and approve an agreement between the Laguna Madre Water District and the town of South Padre Island regarding use of effluent from the Isa Blanca wastewater plant, treatment plant. Mr. Ortiz?
Right, as you're aware, we were working on the permit renewals for Isla Blanca, the wastewater plant where they come due every 5 years. And so one of the things that turned up when I was reviewing the existing permit and submitting the renewal application is that the South Padre Island uses reclaimed water to water those medians on Park Road 100 from, that access road, like roughly Boardwalk down to Schlitterbahn, that general area. But that's actually not included in our discharge permit. That's a separate permit through Chapter 210.
Okay.
And so the agreements that are on file for that right to use reclaimed water have expired. So basically, we're just putting this agreement on the table to get us current with the dates, and then I'll be submitting a new application through Chapter 210 just to get everything back up to date.
Okay. Questions?
Is this the same rate that we were talking about if we did the Long Island Village and all that? Because I thought I heard you say 40 to exempt.
No. Basically, right now, because they're currently using this water, so they're being billed 22 cents per 1,000 gallon. And so all I've done in the draft ready for signature, but actually probably need the attorney review as well. So basically, I put the current rate, which is 22 cents per 1,000 gallon.
Any other questions? Get a motion, please?
I'm just trying to make sure this isn't too cheap, but whatever. If they say it isn't, it isn't, so I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Wells to approve the agreement, and second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes, sir. Subject to attorney's approval?
Legal.
All right.
Okay.
Can you amend your motion?
Yes, I'd like to amend my motion, subject to attorney approval.
We have a motion
So
by
moved.
Mr. Wells, second by Mr.
Second.
Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Very good. Item 18, consider and approve disbursements. Any questions on disbursements? Like to discuss any of them? Have you all looked at them? Nothing looks out of place? We need to start looking. All right, so we get a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wells to approve disbursements. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 19, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled on the board meeting of January 14, 2015.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Wells to remove this from the table. Can we get a second, please?
No second.
You gonna second it, Mr. Thomas?
Sure.
Mr. Thomas will second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. All right, item is consider and approve for the general manager to begin negotiations with Carollo Engineers to design phase for Port Isabel Water Reclamation Facility and related wastewater treatment upgrades. Gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, I think we talked about it earlier at the workshop, that we're just gonna hold off and try to redo the wastewater treatment plants as priority instead of reclamation. So I
Well,
would like to recommend that.
But do we need Carollo to handle some of that for us as far as engineering some of that $6 million cost, right? We do.
Yes.
That's not something you can handle on your
No,
own.
that's a big job. We would need a
That's for the
consultant.
phase one.
For the-
Correct. Like, we would negotiate
That's what
scope
I'm-
and include what's included in this additional phase of authorization.
So just getting our existing facilities up to par, the Port Isabel, let's
Now, would you want to include the Andy Bowie and Isablanca within their scope
that
of work
will
for
include the
negotiation?
Andy Bowie and waste.
Get them fixed
Yes.
first.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Is that fine with y'all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We just leave it on the table.
Okay. All right. We get a motion, please? We have a motion by Mr. Cantu to authorize the general manager to begin negotiations with Carollo Engineers for the design phase strictly for phase one of the Port Isabel wastewater plant and the upgrades to Isla Blanca and Andy Bowie.
Strictly that.
Strictly that.
Strictly that. Second.
For the third time, yes. All right, we have a second by Mr.
Just
Thomas.
don't want things to get out of hand.
No, we don't. We don't. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good job, guys. Item 20, executive session permitted by the Open Meeting Act, VTCA Government Code, Section 551.001. Under Section 551.074, A1, authorizing certain deliberations about officers and employees of the district to be held in executive session. To deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of district employees, to wit, Director of Finance. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Thomas to go into executive session. Second by Mr. Wells. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, call for a 5-minute recess.
5 minute
5-minute recess. All right, we have a, can we get a motion, please?
Motion on the floor to narrow this down to 2 applicants. We'd like to speak with each of them. And Ms. Selena Gonzalez and Sanyoana, did I say that correctly, Garcia, to have them come in for an interview before the board in executive session.
We have a motion by Mr. Thomas,
Second.
second by Mr. Wells. Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. That was item 21. Item 22, meeting adjourned.
So moved. What is this?